friends. Well, here's another early-ish morning post from New York. Sleeping family in the next room. We had a really fun night last night because it was the release party for the MacGyver album that we completed several months ago, but had to wait on some publishing stuff. But that it has all happened. It is online now, which is really cool. It's really fun to see that project. The project is by no means over because there's a whole show to go with this album. But to see the album, to see the music live now in the world is really fun. It's super cool. So we all celebrated that last night. Katie and I did. Annalise was there. We had a really great time. And something in the midst of that something showed up about the teachers that I've had. And I recognized something about how teachers have influenced me. And I was reflecting in particular also on some relationships with teachers that inevitably and probably as is always the case, have changed over the years. Sometimes to where sometimes it's like the teacher kind of does their job and then leaves your life and you don't really have that much contact with them. Other times, the teacher might stay in your life, but they're not your teacher anymore. And somewhere in that context, by reflecting on some of those experiences, I had a new understanding of this notion that's almost a cliche, that because we always say teachers light a flame in the student, right? That's like a well-worn cliche about the influence of a great teacher on a student. But what I appreciated, or what I think I felt in a new way, was just how, first of all, how great, how apt a description that is. Because I can feel those flames that various teachers have lit still burning. I could point to them. I could be like, this comes from this teacher 27 years ago or whatever. This still very live and active interest in my mind or in my work comes from this mentor that I remember. And I remember, if not the moment, then the period when it's like I came alive in certain ways. And what I think is beautiful about that is not only does it really wonderfully sort of capture what human interaction is about, that we are inspiring each other, that we're creating sparks of enthusiasm and life and love that ultimately live on without us, But there's something so, when I think about these flames that have been lit by my great mentors, those things feel eternal. Those things feel like they're beyond, they're from somewhere else, they're from another dimension. They give us access to another dimension that is eternal. And even when I was younger, I sort of sensed that. I could sort of sense in the people that I resonated with as teachers that they were tapping into something vast and true and alive, and that the forcefulness of their personality and the kind of impact of their influence was not coming from their ego. It was coming from this eruption of infinity within them, that they had either discovered or had another mentor that lit the flame in them. And so that's, I love that. I love that description. I love that vision of what it looks like for human beings to interact and have an influence upon each other. And it also affirms, I think, for me, part of what I'm so enthusiastic about in my own teaching, in my own work with students and clients, and it's a vocation that is evolving for me right now. It's, I think, transitioning, and it's coming online in some new ways. And I think appreciating what that's about. And there's something else that I know from working with various teachers over the years. I had a spiritual teacher at one point who would have called this thing that I'm talking about the guru principle. The guru principle being the flame, and the kind of infinite possibility of passing the flame, because it's the old a candle loses nothing of its light by lighting another candle thing. You can light as many other flames as you can find. But throughout that process, the teacher's personality gets to kind of come along for the ride. So there's this element of it that is personal. There's an element of the relationship that is personal. And certain personalities we might resonate, certain students might resonate with certain teachers' personalities more, and ultimately sometimes that's the element of a teacher that sort of either wears out, it runs its course over the course of a mentoring teaching relationship, or it changes, it kind of, something shifts, and all of a sudden the alignment isn't there anymore. But what's so incredible about this whole process is that that's fine. It's completely fine that we have this human veil, this human personality, ego, that we're walking around with. Not ego in the negative sense, but ego in the sense of like the organizing principle of who we are as an individual, as opposed to our infinite dimension. But that limited dimension of ourself doesn't limit what we can transmit. It's just the vessel. It's just the container for enough kind of, for one human being to be able to move around in the world and bump into other human beings and have an influence, have a connection. And what this understanding does is it lets me reflect on my entire life and every one of those relationships, whether or not they're ongoing now, whether or not, there was any kind of, like, whatever may have happened on the human personal level, I have only gratitude for those relationships. It's all that it leaves behind, because I've still got those fires. I've still got those flames burning. I can tend them. I can feel them. I just have this sense of enormous gratitude, and I don't know what I'd do without them. It's like these indelible marks on me and these lifelong openings, awakenings, and enthusiasms that are lifelong. That I'll never lose them. So it's just incredibly, it makes me incredibly grateful. So, not sure where this line of inquiry or this line of thinking came from, but it popped up pretty powerfully yesterday, and then kind of again today as I was reflecting. I'm just so grateful for my teachers. And I'm enjoying the process of becoming one and embracing that role. So, yeah. That's what I got today, folks. Have a wonderful day. Appreciate you. I'll see you tomorrow.